Okay, this is part two of making the greenhouse, grow house. I'm going to split some bamboo. It's about 3 inches in diameter and it's about 20 feet long. And I'm using a machete that I secured into a piece of wood, a log, but it's not secured good enough. So if you want to split it this way, what I'm doing is hammering it on the back and driving it through. But watch what happens here. Is that knife's going to come out of that cut, and right about now. And so if you're going to make something like this, you got to have a real secure base to hold that machete in. This is another technique on how to split the bamboo. It's a little harder to do, it takes more time, but it's a little safer. And what I've actually done after this is when I've cut them to like 8 feet or 9 feet, I take them to a bandsaw and I cut them that way, and it's a lot faster and it's easier and it's not as hard. But if you want to continue doing it this way, you can. Okay, after you get it split in half, take about a 3-pound hammer and knock out those little center sections. They come right out. And it'll make it easier to split it the next time, and it'll also make it easier to bend. And when bending, the thinner the strips, the easier it is to bend and the better arch you can make. But if you get it too thin, it's not strong enough. So you got to figure out how much to bend it or to make the splits. Okay, I'm using my little jig again to try to split the split in half again. But again, I don't recommend doing this because that knife's not secure enough. If you want to do it, you got to weld some kind of a frame for it and hold the knife in there, and then you'll be able to split it. But if you're not splitting 1,000 feet of this stuff, it's easier just to do it the way I did it before, by hand and not using this jig. There it goes, almost got me. Okay, here's the point that I reached when I said it's time to use the bandsaw, because this didn't split down the middle, it split off to the edge. And I go, okay, time for the bandsaw. The piece is still usable, but cutting it on the bandsaw came out better. Okay, so now I'm starting to build the front door. I made another hoop. I attached a hoop to the bottom piece of bamboo by drilling a hole at each end and then putting a peg at the bottom of the bamboo hoop and sticking it into that hole that it's in the bottom, and made the arch and started to lay out the front door. We'll see how it goes. Here's a detail of the hole drilled in the bamboo with the peg attached to the support hoop, and there's better ways of attaching it, but I ran out of binding wire, so I had to use some string, and it didn't work out that well. But it was only a temporary solution anyway, because after it's all done, it gets tied together. Yeah, here I'm using some binding wire to bind the door slats to the upper part of the hoop. Constructing the simple door, just lashing it together with binding wire. Okay, so now there's the front door. The hinge is just a couple of zip ties drilled through both of those left side posts and made real loose, so the door just kind of sits there and flops open. It weighs maybe 2 pounds at the most, and it's working out really good. Before I finished the door, I planted some lettuce seeds and some tomatoes and peppers in there, and these lettuce seeds have already sprouted. They're probably planted about 6 days ago, and they're sprouting underneath the purple grow net. And my other garden, I planted some 2 weeks ago, and none of them ever sprouted. Some store-bought pepper plants that I bought, and they just got put in. We'll see how they do in about 2 weeks after they get their roots established. There's some tomato plants that I grew from seed. We'll find out how they do in another 2 weeks. We'll get back to you. So far, I'm really pleased with the purple netting. It's a special netting. It's only for gardens. You can buy other purple netting, but it's not going to be like this purple netting. And I'm going to be real interested to see how things grow when it starts to get hot out, and I want to see if it burns tomatoes or not. The sun, hopefully the netting's going to shade it enough and not burn it, but allow the plant to grow. Thank you, and goodbye for now. If you're interested in the purple netting, drop me an email line. It's $3.75 a foot, and we'll post some more videos a little later to see how things go. Thanks again, and happy gardening.